Good afternoon. You have tuned into the live stream of the weekly resource wrap-up. Our goal each week is to update you on any recovery, community, and upcoming events within 15 minutes. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'm Jennifer Myers. I'm the statewide disaster recovery coordinator at the Economic Development Department. So why don't you go ahead and grab your lunch or a snack and just listen into the live stream. We have a special guest today. It's Lucas Pedraza, project coordinator for New Mexico MainStreet. Lucas will give you a brief overview of New Mexico MainStreet and any exciting updates. So I'll go ahead and pass the mic off to you, Lucas.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Lucas Pedraza. I'm project coordinator for New Mexico MainStreet. Excited to be talking to you guys today about what's been going on for our program in New Mexico Economic Development Program. So I'll just take you through a brief overview and let you know about some upcoming opportunities and how you might be able to get involved if you would like to join a Main Street organization or if you're interested in starting a Main Street project in your community. Just to give you sort of like an idea of how we start or how we work, New Mexico MainStreet program is an asset-based community economic development program. And it's been accredited by a National Main Street Center for the past 37 years. So you might see different versions of Main Streets in different states, and they'll have different communities throughout their state. And as we do here in New Mexico, we have about 31 communities, mostly rural, but there are a few in Albuquerque, and there's actually a couple of frontier urban corridor programs now in Santa Fe as well. So what we mean by asset-based community economic development is basically it's a grassroots sort of approach to economic development. We assist a lot of small businesses and small local governments with limited capacity in their economic development planning. And it comes with an asset-based sort of mindset. We look at your sort of cultural assets, institutional assets, like universities, other programs, and try to use those as ways to sort of spur economic development in those communities. So the program, core objective is to revitalize and redevelop downtowns and communities that have gone through sort of a slump for a while and need some new life, and to bring in ideas to bring in new jobs and to refresh the downtowns. And the way we do this, we work to build local capacity with so each Main Street, they will show a map later on of where these communities are. Each Main Street has a nonprofit that's set up with a executive director and a board, and we work with them to sort of understand how they can do their own fundraising, how they can do their own strategic planning, and identify funding to do things like refresh facades in their downtowns, to start entrepreneurial programs. We have a community now that has a whole food truck that's training entrepreneurs and onto how to create a restaurant on a food truck. And it's kind of amazing what you can do with one paid full-time employee and a board of about 10 people. All working together to beautify their downtown and create these new kinds of opportunities for entrepreneurs in their in their local economy. So these other things are pretty much other things that tie into that. I mean, the idea is to find what's unique about your community and create a thriving place based on what's the unique assets in your community. So we work through a 4-point approach. So if you're a Main Street community or frontier community, you have access to our 11 different revitalization specialists, and they work through into each one of these 4 points that you see here on the screen. And each community creates their own economic transformation strategy. So for each community, they get together with their local government, their volunteers, their local businesses, and decide what's the most important things that need to happen in their community to make a difference in their community and revitalize the economy. So I'll go through, just give you some brief examples here. So design is one of our most popular sort of points that most people notice when you go into downtown and you see a Main Street program. You usually see nice, fresh, updated signage, wayfinding projects to help people get across town and find the different activities going on in town and places to visit. You'll see we also run a capital outlay program. So you usually see a program that's been around for a while. They'll be applying for capital outlay through us, and they'll be working with one of our revitalization specialists to look at the public spaces, streets, lighting, those kinds of things in their community. So a community that has a Main Street program usually is working towards doing a lot of that kind of work in their community. Promotion is another point. We have a marketing specialist who can work with your local community and figuring out how to draw more tourism into your community, finding again what's unique about your community and communicating that through multiple channels and sort of telling the story of your community. And we'll also work with small businesses on this point and helping them understand how they can go online and how they could make best use of social media and their websites to either do e-commerce or just use it as a marketing tool to bring more customers into their store. The organization point, we have great people who work in here who help the local organizations figure out how to do fundraising events, how to apply for grants, and make sure that everybody's sort of got a basic understanding of what economic development is and what it means for their community. And they also have to learn to maintain a 501c3, which there's a lot of little nuts and bolts. It could get a little overwhelming if you're not used to it. So we have people who help our communities go through those steps to build up their organizations. And then economic vitality programs. So I mentioned one earlier. One of the sort of projects that most people have been excited about this year was that we had a food truck program where one of our communities in Lubbockton actually bought a actual food truck using USDA grants, which they got our help doing. And they got an actual food truck sitting there downtown, and they're launching a program right now with about 12 people who are starting exciting new food truck kind of concepts. So that'll be a sort of example of economic vitality. It's a way of creating an ecosystem of entrepreneurships and new supports in your community and resources in your community to help your local economy. So here's the list of different communities you'll see throughout the state. You can see where we have a wide spread working all over the state. We have 31 active Main Street programs and 12 arts and cultural districts, which are basically Main Street programs with also a focus in arts and local culture kind of projects. So those 12 are part of those 31, really. And then we have 39 Frontier Native communities and actually urban, and then 39 Frontier Native communities projects. So these projects are 12 to 16 months projects where we'll open this application process up in June. If your community is interested in working with us and working through our 4-point approach and doing and basically what these communities do, they select one project they would like to complete within a year, and we help them to find funding for that project, and we'll help them through our technical assistance to achieve their goals. And I would recommend this for any community who's really interested in becoming a full-fledged Main Street program to start there, because a full-fledged Main Street program takes a lot of work. You need a lot of volunteers, and you need to build a relationship with your local government because they need to become a funding partner in your Main Street project. So the best way to get started to show and demonstrate capacity in your community and the willingness to follow through on projects is to go ahead and apply for a Frontier Native Community project. So that'll come in hopefully June. We'll open that up and we'll do a webinar on what we're looking for and what you need to do to fill out our application. If you go to our website, you can see last year's application. We don't anticipate that there'll be many changes to it. And then also last year, we began working with urban neighborhood commercial corridors projects. So usually the way it used to be was just Frontier Native communities were the only ones where we could really work. Now we have urban sort of piece. So if you're in Santa Fe, you're in Las Cruces, or you're in Albuquerque, and you're in a not a traditional sort of rural Main Street town, you're in a urban neighborhood, that is a way to also get involved with us, because we do have urban programs in Barela, South Valley, Nob Hill, if you're familiar with Albuquerque. So that'll be the same thing. Is you select a project, that you want to work on for 12 to 16 months. And you'll get all the services that a Main Street program gets to work on towards that one project. So we also call these programs or projects the Main Street Light, because it's an easy way to just get involved and access all our resources and get a feel for what it would be like to actually be a full-fledged Main Street program, which you get, more projects that you can work on, and you end up getting a full-time executive director who's working to progress your downtown revitalization goals. We also have 9 historic theater restoration projects. Those are all in Main Street communities. Those are usually have received some kind of capital outlay funding to refresh their theaters. Historic theaters are sort of a big draw for a lot of downtowns, so we occasionally engage in work on historic theaters throughout the state. So that's pretty much the overview of what we got going on. If you'd like to find out more, please call myself or Daniel Gutierrez, the director. And we'll be making announcements once we have a date for the webinar for the urban neighborhood corridors projects or the Frontier Native Community projects. So keep an eye out for that and check out our website.
Oh, thank you so much, Lucas. We'll have to make a trip to go try that food truck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have a food truck.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go ahead and take over the screen here, and we'll go ahead and talk about the weekly resource wrap up. So Lucas, thank you so much. Feel free to drop off if you need to.
Okay.
Have a good one. So everybody, each week we kind of go through the same weekly resource wrap up. This is the e-newsletter that we go over. I just want to highlight a couple of things that are new. So on the recovery resources side, we have the Biden just announced this covid.gov website that's intended to help you with, I'm going to pull it up here because I have it here. So this is a brand new website that the Biden administration has just launched. It's to help guidance for communities, businesses. If you need treatment for COVID or masks or vaccines, you don't know where to go, you can click on covid.gov and it'll tell you everything you need to know regarding COVID resources. And on the left-hand side, we have a couple of the EDD events that I've mentioned last time. The grants, the Trails Plus grant, they had one of the webinars already, and they have another one coming up just talking about the new program. I will talk about the State Purchasing Division legislative update in the highlight section, but just mark your calendar April 20th at 1 p.m. And I also mentioned last go round about New Mexico Film Office has a program to present a 3-part writing program for 10 New Mexicans interested in developing a feature film. So that deadline is approaching. It's this week. So if you haven't applied, please do so now. It's about to expire. Under the business resources, I wanted to highlight the Rural Community Assistance Corporation. It's a nonprofit. It's a CDFI, which is Community Development Financial Institution. And this organization provides technical training, financial resources, advocacy, and it's all focused on the rural communities and businesses. They have affordable loans that you could use for housing, environmental infrastructure, community facilities, and for small businesses as well. So who is eligible? Their cap for rural populations is 50,000 or less. So if that's in your area, then you can work with them. They have long-term business loans. They have short-term business loans. Looks like long-term is 30-year loan for up to $6 million. Short-term is up to 5 years and $250,000. They also have a incentive for green lending. So if you're already practicing green industry or kind of energy saving features, then you would get a discount on your percentage interest rate. So to learn more, just click on the link and it'll take you right to their website and you can talk with them directly. On the left-hand side, we have a few articles to highlight. The Biden-Harris administration has talked about, investing in minority-owned small businesses. We have a great article about New Mexico's amazing air. It's a nice little piece that we can breathe friendly here. Good news is New Mexico's jobless rate is back near pre-COVID levels, so that's exciting. And then, of course, about cannabis, it's officially official as April 1st of this year. The governor and the Pueblos announced signing of a historic agreement on cannabis. If you'd like to learn more about that, click on the link. And also, New Mexico published a 5-year leveraging plan for outdoor recreation. A lot of the departments within New Mexico are working together on this. So if that's of interest, click on the link provided. And also, the Santa Teresa area is getting some huge investments, and you can kind of learn about why it's such an important area right now. So as I mentioned, so I host a New Mexico recovery series every month, and now I'm featuring the state purchasing division. They're going to be going over legislative updates as well. I've got Mark Hayden, the CPO and state purchasing agent director at General Services Department, to do update on the procurement changes. If you click on the registration, it'll kind of highlight. I'm going to pull this over here, and hopefully you can see it. So the topics they're going to cover is Buy New Mexico program. What is that? What does the state purchasing division do? How do I do business with the state of New Mexico? How do I register as a vendor? And then the legislative update, the Senate Bill 39, how does that impact vendors? And they're going to do a live demonstration of the website and resources. So if you're interested at all of working with the state of New Mexico, I highly recommend that you participate in that webinar. And again, that'll be April 20th at 1 p.m. As usual, we have quite a few community resources, and I'll try to be as concise as possible. The Rural Capacity Building Technical Assistance Program is it's a project-based program to help technical assistance for grants and loans in rural areas for affordable housing, community development projects, and it has to be focused on low and moderate income households in rural areas. So again, like the RCAC, the population is 50,000 or less. And speaking of RCAC, there's a free drinking water well assessment. They'll offer well assessments for water quality screenings. The caveat is it has to be within a 60-mile radius of Espanola. So if that's you, you can click on the flyer and learn more about that program. And along the lines of water and waste disposal grants, this program provides low-income communities that are facing risks with safe and reliable water and access to water. So they're just year-round applications. There's no set deadline, but as always, I always apply earlier than later. EDA has a new program. It's soliciting applications to provide investments and support research and technical assistance project for these EDA programs. So if you'd like to learn more about that, they want to leverage existing regional assets to support economic development in specifically distressed areas and communities. So that's a new EDA program. We also have outreach and assistance for farmers and ranchers and veteran farmers and ranchers as well. They may compete for funding for projects to provide education, training in agricultural, forestry, USDA programs, and also conduct outreach for this program as well, and designed to accomplish those goals. So that deadline is June 8th. We also have a deploying solar with wildlife and ecosystem service benefits program. And the goal of the program is to provide solutions and strategies to minimize the impact of solar energy on wildlife, but also enabling rapid deployment of ground-mounted solar energy projects as well. So if that's up your alley, please click on the link provided and you find out more. USDA has a program. It's a Meat and Poultry Processing Capacity Technical Assistance Program, which is MPPTA. This will provide technical assistance for meat and poultry grant applicants and grant-funded projects. And then they highlight 2 specific projects that they mentioned that would be technical assistance for. So one of the programs, the USDA announced that they're going to applications for $23.6 million in competitive grants. So that's some money there. We have a digital project for the public. It's primarily to analyze digital platform formats, websites, and analyze humanities in those areas and all the different technical platforms, which could be kiosks, games, virtual environments. So the deadline for that is June 8th. We also have another grant opportunity to provide technical assistance and training with essential community programs. So that is a lot of technical training, as you can see, technical assistance that are existing for community facilities. So the deadline for that is May 23rd. Once again, technical assistance grants. It's a broad range of activities, including improvement of local pipeline emergency responses, improvement of safe digging, damage prevention. Kind of outlines a lot of the different types that they that are eligible for this program. So go ahead and take a look if that's of interest. This is not new, but it's closing soon. New Mexico Clean and Beautiful, I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but they have a competitive grant for technical assistance available for, for government agencies and communities to eradicate litter and waste reduction and community and to help beautify the area. So please click on the link and provide it so you can register for that. So I'm kind of moving along. A lot of these things we mentioned last go round. Of course, in case you missed it, we have a lot of different programs that are available, but you can click on here and find out more. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's quite a few. We got the Family Friendly New Mexico, where a business can see how competitive, or a government agency to see how competitive their benefits are and see how family friendly they are and get a certificate. And also get some assistance with that and resources. And once again, a lot of community resources. You got a lot of USDA opportunities. So just click on these provided. I think we're a little bit over time, so I'll try to do this quickly. We also have a new round of webinars and events. As of today, there's the SEC Small Business Forum, and it starts today until the 7th, every day at 11 a.m. Also, GSA and SBA, they have a Smart Money Smart series, and so you can see each week they have a different module and a different topic. So if there's one that's more of interest to you, you can click on each one of these and register with that specific module. We have an opportunity fair, as well as USDA has a Small Business 201 workshop. So if you're interested in contracting with USDA, I highly recommend clicking on there. And then we have a few food systems for New Mexico equitable webinar that's coming up on the 19th at 10 a.m. And as we have ongoing webinars. We also have on-demand and any recently recorded webinars. So with that, I will go ahead and conclude this week's weekly resource wrap-ups live stream, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of your lunch. Hopefully you were able to get some information quickly. Have a great day. Bye-bye.